currently trying to do this traffic circle here in Vieira, and it is a messed up circle. The idea of a traffic circle is you're supposed to be able to come up and not have to stop. But in America, especially here in Vieira, people stop. The reason you stop is, I see there, someone just stopped there. There's a golf cart here, but I think some people don't know how to work the circles. I know in Europe, they don't stop at all. They just whirl in and keep going. But here in America, at least in Vieira, the people here behave differently and stop. So even though you have a traffic circle, they're still stopping. What was interesting was on my trip, when we were in Colorado, there was also a traffic circle, and the people there were driving weird too. I ended up stopping at that circle because I didn't know how it worked. It actually behaved differently. So that's the confusion too in America, is they did not implement a universal traffic circle. Now, you know, most American streets have like intersections, you know, the four-way intersection, and everybody knows what to do at those intersections. But the traffic circles, depending on which city implemented it and what state or city, it behaves differently. So, you know, I don't know if it's like that in all of Europe. The ones I've seen in Europe, they all seem to behave the same. You know, everyone drives around in a loop and merges on without having to stop. In America, people are still stopping and doing weird stuff even though it's a traffic circle. And I think the reason they do that is the traffic circles in the different cities have different rules, which to me is silly. But anyhow, we are inside Lil Blue 2, who just recently got repaired by my son Nicholas and his friend and neighbor, James, who's an excellent mechanic. And Blue is seeming to be working again. This is my first time back out on I-95 on an interstate with Blue since all the issues with the misfires and the James Bond smoke and everything else. So I'm curious as to the performance. Right now we're hitting 70 miles per hour, and I'm about to speed up a little bit more. The engine does not seem to be missing. Center it here so you can get a better view. She's running like so smooth. I've never seen or felt Lil Blue 2 run this smooth since I had her. So I think the fixes that were done, James, thank you so much, have made Blue better than ever before. The gas mileage seems to be going back up. So, you know, I mean, when I say going back up, I mean I think I'm getting good gas mileage again. I currently got 29.1 miles since I reset the trip odometer, and still the gauge is at a little bit less than half a gas tank. So I don't think I am spewing gasoline, you know, from the injector like I was before. And what does this all mean? Well, it means that Lil Blue 2 is back, which means for those of you who are into van dwelling and stuff, you're going to see me rebuild Lil Blue 2. She's been sitting kind of, you know, half assembled since all the issues started. And I've been pretty much living at Walter's house. Walter is going to be back in about a month or so, a month and a half. He'll be back. Yeah, he'll be back in about a month and a half, 2 months. So I've got to get everything wrapped up on that end and get the vehicle prepared for me to live in it full time if I have to. Meanwhile, you know, I'm still trying to earn money here to keep the child support payments going, and also to try to get caught up on Walter's rent. I'm actually behind quite a bit. And still need to finish up the tree. I'm hoping to start the tree episodes, possibly even today, going back to the tree to see if I can't get the chainsaw on it, even if only for a few minutes, just to get myself familiar with what it feels like to have the chainsaw on that tree. I'm a little nervous about it because it's my first time using a chainsaw. And that's pretty much it. But Blue is running great. The car isn't shaking at all. There's no misfires that I can tell. And the engine is just so smooth right now. Now you might be hearing a lot of wind noise because I have the side window on the passenger side about halfway open, because the driver's side is not working at all. And the way I'm looking at things right now, I am so happy. Little Blue 2 is back alive and running better than she's ever run before. You guys are really awesome. Thank you so much for all of you who had kind thoughts and prayers. For those of you who sent some money to try to help out with the situation, it is truly appreciated. And for Charles, who never ever gave up on Little Blue 2. You know, there were a whole bunch of times that I thought that Blue was pretty much done for and was bound for the scrap heap. But Charles always contacted me and said to try once again, and he would provide all the parts and stuff, and he even sent some money for things like the computer, the vehicle diagnostics computer. You know, he paid for the harness for the injector, he paid for the injectors, he paid for, what else? The ECM, PCM computer. So I think Charles is the official, you know, guardian of Blue, and I appreciate all of you who have basically cheered me on. And you know, despite the fact that Blue pretty much looked like it was bound for the scrap heap, because I really honestly, seriously felt that the last round of misfires and James Bond smoke and stuff was the end of Little Blue 2. And now, unexpectedly and surprisingly, Blue is back up and appears to be very much alive and operational. This looks like O'Galley exit. I thought it was 192. Apparently it's not the correct exit. I wanted to catch the Melbourne, not the Indian Harbor exit. But this is great. It'll be interesting though to see the gas mileage, see if there's been an improvement. I was getting roughly 18 miles per gallon or so. So once this runs down a little bit, I'm going to do a computation just to get a rough estimate as to how the engine's performing now that it's essentially had, you know, new injectors, new spark plugs, new ignition coil, new spark plug wires, new injector harness. Believe it or not, James did all this work for free. Yeah, he was even going to try to do the head gasket. But then he thought that, you know, because he could smell the oil, the gasoline, that there was a crack in the cylinder. And if that was the case, it wouldn't really be worth opening up and repairing. So he just went ahead and changed the harness at that point, the injector harness, which apparently miraculously has fixed Little Blue 2's weird symptoms. I appreciate everybody who offered their advice and suggestions. So it turned out that sometimes when you have smoke coming out of your exhaust, it may not necessarily be a head gasket issue. It could be an injector that is stuck on open, and the gas is just squirting in there, which will explain the really poor performance. The white smoke, it was a white smoke, and there was a very strong smell of gasoline. I don't think the seafoam and stuff helped in this case, other than maybe to clean out the engine, so maybe it'll run a little bit better. But the biggest help, I think, was making sure that the injector was actually injecting correctly. You know, that it was only injecting when it was supposed to, and that the cylinders are all firing correctly. We are currently at 37.6 miles on the odometer, the trip odometer, and the gas gauge has gone down just ever so slightly. And if everything's reading correctly, I'm actually feeling very happy right now because it looks like Blue is back in operational status. There have been some minor damages and stuff to Blue's rusty body, which I've got to fix. So we might do a segment on that using Bondo to do a cheap repair again on the hood. Remember the hood that had been repaired with Bondo? It rusted through some more, and there's like a rust spot on it that I'm gonna... Really, this hood probably needs to be replaced, a whole new hood, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna try to Bondo it again, and maybe I'll Bondo it. And then just, you know, repaint it again with that cheap blue paint. This car is not like you know, anything brand new or anything. I just need it to run enough to sustain me so that I can get to work, and possibly, if I have to live in it, have it not produce all this smoke to draw the police to me. Right now I'm parked at not parked, but I was idling here at this light, and I don't see smoke coming out the rear. So I do smell a little bit of oil or gas. I don't know if that's from me. I think I smell gas. So maybe there is a slight leak, but it's nowhere near what it was previously. Wow, gas went back up. It's $2.79 right here at this racetrack. Just the other day it was down to like $2.62, $2.63. So in one day it went up. Went up what? 17 cents? That's pretty high. Yeah, 17 cents. It's very high in one day. Well, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. It looks like Blue is safe. Blue is running. Denoy is very happy. And for those of you who missed the actual living in a van episodes, where I'm doing things with the van and living in the van or camping in the van and building things in the van, you'll be seeing some more of those, maybe even cooking in the van again. I am contemplating rebuilding Blue from scratch, tearing down everything I've built so far, and actually doing a new version of the interior. Not that there's anything wrong with the current build. I actually love the current build. It's very versatile and can be used as a cargo hauler, people hauler, and you can live in it full time. So it's probably the most versatile build. But I have an idea to make a build of a minivan camper that uses an internal framework system that can easily be assembled and removed, so that if you had a van that you couldn't really screw into and modify and stuff, you could still build a camper out of it and easily, you know, convert it into a camper in a few minutes, probably within 30 minutes, an hour, and then take it on your camping trip or live in it or whatever. And then when you finish, you could remove the framework. At least that's the idea right now. Trying to build a system where you don't actually screw into the body or the panels, which is, you know, like if you saw the build of Lil Blue 2, then you know I've been screwing things directly into the panels, the plastic panels inside the minivan. So the new build will be one where it's totally removable. And the benefit of doing something like that could be, you know, if I don't know the legalities and stuff, but if you rented a van, like a minivan or something, to you know, from a rental place to travel across the United States or something, you could conceivably build a temporary camper out of it without actually modifying it internally, you know, without actually doing anything. Now, I don't know what would happen if you got in an accident. The insurance may not want to cover it if they say you're living in it, but you could say you're hauling the stuff. You know, I don't know. I'm not saying you should do that, but it's just an idea. But anyhow, I'm playing with the idea right now. It depends on my budget situation and, more importantly, the time issue. Because, you know, if I have to quickly prepare Blue for living, then I don't have time to actually take it apart and rebuild a whole van, a whole camper van. Although I think viewers might enjoy watching a rebuild of Blue, you know, in the form that can be basically not modifying a minivan at all. Anyhow, I'm going to let you guys go. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I'm rambling on and on. I am stoked right now. Blue is up and running. Take care, everybody.